Sorry for the technical inconvenience. Today is the big day to think of how far flung we have come and how far afar we have to go. Along with multifarious struggles and triumphs, there's much more to thrive and much more to show. A warm afternoon to one and all. I'm your host for the day. My name is Dr. Neetu Esarakal, Assistant Professor in Economics, Little Flower College, Guruvayoor, Kerala, India. Little Flower College, Guruvayoor is a women's Roman Catholic college in Guruvayoor, Kerala, which comes under Calicut University and was established on 1st July 1955. Assisi province of Franciscan congregation administrates the college. The college runs on a meritorious track in the field of academics, sports, and placements under the able guidance of Reverend Sister Dr. Little Mary, our manager, Assisi Province, Thrissur District, and Reverend Sister Dr. Valsa M.A., our principal. The Department of Economics, established in 1957, today is guided and led by Sister J. Binsi, our head of the department. She has more than 17 years of rich academic experience and a sculpture of human character. I welcome Sister J. Binsi, head of the Department of Economics, for the welcome address. Welcome, Sister.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I welcome all of you to this international webinar, Impact of COVID-19 and its impact on return migration and foreign remittance in India, with special reference to Kerala economy. Let us start this session by invoking the blessings of Almighty. Lord Almighty, we thank you and praise you for all the blessings you have showered upon us. Bless us with your grace throughout this session. Keep us, the resource persons and the participants, all others, safe in your hands. We pray for the entire world, especially those who are suffering from COVID-19, and for all the caretakers and for our leaders. Lord, grant us your peace and endurance. In the name of Jesus, our Lord. Amen. Once again, I welcome all of you on behalf of our college management, principal, and the entire Little Flower family. As we know, we are passing through a tough time. The incidence and impact influence of COVID-19 and its repercussions. The topic under discussion today is very much relevant in this regard. And luckily, we have 4 distinguished, eminent speakers for this session. Dr. Johnson Jement is from Northampton University, UK. He is the professor and research supervisor in the University of Northampton, UK. We are really fortunate to listen to him. We welcome you, sir, to this webinar. We also have with us Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan, former professor and Dean of Social Science, St. Joseph College, Bangalore. She is well-known, very popular speaker among the social scientists. We will benefit immensely from her wisdom. We welcome you, madam. The distinguished speaker, Dr. Chaco Jospi from Sacred Heart College, Chalakudu. He also with us today. We are proud of you, sir, being a person of academic excellency and sincere commitment. And the M.M. Ghani Award, the Best College Teacher Award winner in University of Calicut, Kerala. With immense pleasure and gratitude, we welcome you, sir. We have another renounced personality, Dr. Rajesh K., Professor, Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies. He is a man of rich experience in a number of prestigious institutions and with a research mind. We welcome you, sir. Our principal, Dr. Valsa M.A., sister is with us. She is a seasonal scholar and navigator of flagship of this program. She extended the wholehearted support towards us. With great respect and affection, we welcome you, sister. I am happy to welcome all the enriched gathering of all participants, varying from faculty members, research scholars, and students, and others from inside India and across the world. I welcome you, all of you, to this international webinar. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Yes, it is audible, Neetu.
Good afternoon to one and all. Greetings from Little Flower College, Guruvayoor. Hearty welcome to our resource persons and all the participants. First of all, let me express my immense pride on the brave initiative of our economics department. I also take this opportunity to congratulate Reverend Sister J. Binsi, Head of the Department of Economics, and Dr. Needu S. Arakil, Assistant Professor in Economics, for their readiness and hard work in the conduct of today's webinar on the topic Impact of COVID-19 on Return Migration and Foreign Remittance in India, with a special reference to Kerala economy. Let this webinar be a highly productive to all the participants, and may it be a grand success. With the blessings of God Almighty, I'm happy to declare that the webinar is inaugurated. This webinar will definitely provide you creative thoughts to enrich our future generation. Wish you all a nice day. Let us make this lockdown season an opportunity for greater visions and widen horizons of knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Dear participants, I'll give you a few instructions regarding this webinar. Within a few minutes, we'll start. Please keep your video and audio turned off. And you please keep a book and pen to note down the important questions and post in the chat box of Zoom and YouTube. only from 4:30 p.m. onwards. Before that, we won't entertain any other questions. Feedback link will be shared in the end on all these platforms. Now I welcome Dr. Chaco Josby. Sir, please head the session.
Hello. Hello. So we are here for the webinar hosted by LF College Guruvayoor on the topic Impact of COVID-19 on Return Migration and Foreign Remittance in India, with special reference to Kerala economy. As all of you know, this is a very important topic at the moment because we are all concerned of the migrants that are returning from various places to Kerala, and also what will happen to the economy of Kerala if the backbone of economy of Kerala, that is the foreign remittances, is going to stop, or the amount is going to get reduced. So before we get into the topic, there are different reflections on this present situation by economists. So some economists argue that we are nearing the first century of our 1930s depression. So probably the 1930s depression started in 1920. So some argue that this is the starting of another depression as 100 years complete for the first depression, Great Depression. Some others argue that it is what Malthus predicted as the Malthusian check, where the population growth outgrows agriculture production. So there are many arguments like that. But when you come to Kerala, you know that Kerala economy, the well-known model of Kerala model, is a model which is supported by foreign remittances. The Kerala development experience is something that is supported by foreign remittances. So when migrants return on a large scale to Kerala, what will happen to the migrants when they come back here? How will we handle the socioeconomic situations that arise out of it? How will we deal their unemployment? What will we do to support them? They have been supporting us for long. Now we have to support them back. So what will be the methods of doing that? So these all have to be discussed. Another is what will happen to the economy of Kerala when there is a reduction in the foreign remittances. So this session, we all know that it is not going to be the same economy. It is not going to be even the same life after this COVID-19 event is over. For example, when foreign remittances go down, then the income of the economy goes down. Then, as you know, it can even affect the marginal propensity to consume of the people of the state. So these are some of the issues that are coming up. So as a moderator of this webinar, I'm extremely happy to welcome you all to this webinar. We will be going like this. Our plan is the three resource persons will speak for 20 minutes first, and then we will take your questions and we will come to the discussion. So the first speaker of the day is Dr. Johnson Jamment, who is with the University of Northampton, UK. He is advisor to Coastal Studies Cultural Forum, which undertakes educational and livelihood improvement programs for traditional and coastal community members. And he is also holding a master's degree in economics. So I welcome Dr. Johnson Jamment to make his presentation.
Thank you very much, Chaco sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the introduction for this international seminar. It's nice to see you all. It is very important. We have to intellectually stimulating this time for the year because we are at home and we can do a lot of intellectual activities now. This is one of them. So I'm very thankful to the people who are organizing this, and thank you for inviting me to this seminar as well. So I'm going to use my PowerPoint. I will share that now, so then I can speak to you. Says host disabled participant sharing. Can you make it enable participant screen sharing for me, please? Or I can speak, no worries. Okay, sorry, you do that. Let the technicalities work. I don't want to waste the time of people. I keep on speaking. So here I'm going to present my data as a NRI perspective, because myself as an NRI started my journey in 2005. I went to the UK for my master's in education, and also I did my PhD there. And 2 years I worked as a postdoctoral researcher there. Then I came back to India, and I'm working from India for the University of Northampton from Bangalore. So for the last 6 years, 6 to 8 years, I'm working from India for the University of Northampton. But I can say a lot of things regarding what is the life of NRIs having this post-COVID situation. So I have actually collected some data from people who are working in different sectors of the world. So I'll give you my data. At the same time, most of my presentation actually is based on qualitative data. So I am interested in people's stories. So stories actually give real life situation. I'm still not able to do the. So should I wait for the sharing screen, or I should continue?
Rajesh sir is the host now. Rajesh sir, could you please change the host position to Johnson sir? Could you please? Rajesh sir is the host now. Sir, okay. Could you please change your position, host position to Johnson sir?
How to change it?
On the bottom of the screen, you can see like participants. You just depress OK and make host option. You can see.
Hello.
On Johnson sir, you just depress. On Johnson sir, you depress and make him the host. In the participants, sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. Participants list, you can see Jamant. No, Johnson sir's. You can see Johnson sir in participant list. No. Okay. You just depress and you can see different options. More options you can see. No.
Yeah. More options.
Then make host. You just click, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, can you see my PowerPoint, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Okay, so actually I have collected data from 20 people from 3 country groups, which I will explain a bit later. And they are from 8 countries. I did online interviews with them, actually semi-structured formally. These people are very convenient. Most of these people I know personally. Therefore, they were willing to give me the data. All these people belong to different districts in Kerala. Mainly, they are from Trivandrum, Kollam, Ernakulam, and Thrissur. Unfortunately, I did not get any data from Malappuram district, which is one of the highest number of immigrants to the UAE and some other parts of the world. So out of these 20 participants, I have 3 females and 17 males. These 20 people actually work in different sectors. Some people work in medical sector, some people work in government sector, and large number of people are actually working in construction and other manual related works. I also included students. That is very purposefully. But I feel students are also one of the migrant population, which a lot of Kerala migration studies actually not given much importance to the students. What's the nature of students' work and different, especially in the Western world, and also how much money they send to India. For example, if I take myself as an example as a student and later as a professional after my studies, I send money home for my family debt clearance and also construction of new house. I bought a new property with my own income for my family. I also supported my siblings for their education. And also I supported my family for their, hospital expenditure. So I did a lot of contribution in that level as a student and also as a professional later. So that is one kind of contribution is missing in the literature. That's why I included the students group here as well. The other group, undocumented ones, which is also a lot of literature actually talk about, there are a lot of illegal migrants who live in different parts of the world. So they recent study, the Kerala Migration Survey, say there are about 2 million people in different parts of the world. So all these people actually represent my data, which I present here. The nature of my presentation is actually I'm using their real life stories. I'm not using any statistics here. So this is purely qualitative data. So I will present the data and what data tells us in terms of the economic aspect of their lives there. So here I classify these people, these participants for this small study here. They are from 3 country groups. One is from Gulf countries. We know that 89% of the Kerala immigrants are actually based in Gulf countries. The other 10.8% actually belong to USA, US, UK, Australia, and Canada. And recently, there are a lot of people also going to France as well. So I also include some people, 2 people actually I interviewed from France as well. So if you look at the data of these people, so we are getting very different picture actually. These 3 country groups affected differently. So for example, if you look at the Gulf countries, there are a lot of people are working in different sectors. They also government sector and also logistics services they do. But large number of people are actually belong to undocumented labor groups as well as people who are doing construction works. So they are the people who are mostly affected by this post-COVID situation. So most of them are actually low salary, but they have to do more work. A bit of it I will speak a bit later. The USA situation, though US is a comparatively better state in terms of economics, or the highly developed state, but they are not providing much support to the immigrant and also especially people from the non-white background. So I also get some data from there. So fortunately, if you look at the NRI people in the UK, Australia, Canada, and France, they are comparatively better positioned. So they get some sort of support from the government. If you look at the data, even in Canada and Australia, they provide all country residents, they provide some amount of money. So around $2,000 they provide to every person, irrespective of their national boundaries, irrespective of the immigrant backgrounds, whether it is student or not, they are providing that kind of support. On the other hand, the UK actually provides 80% of the salary to these people. So they are asking the people that you just relax, don't do the social, I mean, you have to keep the social distancing, keep home most of the time. The essential communities will come to you. The 80% of their salary will be provided by the government. So it is also happening in France as well. So in that way, these migrants stay these countries comparatively better position to other, I mean, people in the UAE, for example. Remember, here we are talking about the people who live in UK and other countries are only 10.8% of the total immigrant population. So, so this is not a representative sample. So that is, you need to be very careful about it. So I'm not going to read all the verbatim provided by the people. You can see that. I hope you can see all this verbatim very well. So can I move to next slide? So I also group these people into four sectors, four groups. So, for example, the government sector, some people are working in government sector, both in the UAE situation and also in the Western context as well. Those people are seem like they are very safe at the moment. So, but they are anticipated, they are worried about the future. So what will happen? For example, in the UK situation and the France situation, they are saying after September, government is going to do a lot of interventions to get the economy back. So currently they are focusing more on the health services, but once they are going to spend a lot of time for the economic aspect, there may be a lot of difficulties. For example, they are anticipating that they will be asked to do more work, then their salary may be cut, because at the moment the 80% salaries are given not doing any work. So they have to cover this course they are doing now. So the students' population actually seemed with uncertainty. Some of them lost their job because they were doing the part-time jobs. So especially in the Western context, some people are actually worried about, because most of the students, they pay themselves by doing part-time jobs. They also do some kind of money back home to support the bank repayment, etc. So that is not happening. So some sort of support they do for the families back in Kerala is not happening at the moment. If you look at the medical sector, it's a comparatively better situation. We know that medical services are essential services. So these people's contributions are very needed now. So they are paid well. I mean, their salaries are not cut. But I interviewed 3 people in 3 different medical settings: one doctor, one nurse, and also one care home worker. So even these, all these people are working in Western context actually. So though they are working in the Western context, but their personal protective measures are not, not yet up to the mark. Still, they are worried about their personal protections because they are dealing with very, very highly risk people. So because of that, worried about. On the other hand, these people generally don't spend money much to Kerala because most of these people are staying with their families. So the foreign remittance comparatively lesser. So they make lesser contribution to Kerala, but they still send some money back home. So the other group, those people who are working in constructions, especially the logistics service, and people who work in stay in labor camps and working in restaurants and other services are hugely affected. So as we know, most of these people are actually from UAE context, Gulf countries, or the Gulf countries. Most of these people are actually doing their job. But they are not in a better situation. They are actually, they have to stay at labor camps. In one room, maybe 8 people, they have to stay there. So, so they actually also get money from their employer, not as a payment for their service, but advancement payment. Means they have to pay back later. So it is going to be a kind of family debt soon. So in that situation. The other group also undocumented groups, which also work in the labor camps, and some of them are also working illegally some parts of the world. So they say that it's very terrible situation here. So even in the lockdown situation, they have to work. They are not allowed to stay home. They have to work. The employers are actually asking them to work, but they're working with a very high fear. Their salaries are slashed, and they're getting not usual salary they used to get earlier. And also the government, these countries are actually introduced new labor salary legislations to reduce the amount of these people. So in that way, one of the groups mostly affected these countries are also belong to undocumented labor groups. So how this is going to be impacted economically? So I put in 4 categories here. There is a usual scenario of income, household expenditure, savings, and investments. So you can also see some of the verbatim there, the actual words spoken by these people here. So, for example, one person says that the situation in Middle East is worse because once this habit affected, it somehow affects the whole world. So, meaning they are hugely affected now because there is no work. There is no payment because of they're not having work. There is no payment. Then the salary cut actually from 65% to 80% of their salary being cut. Again, I'm emphasizing here this situation mostly from Gulf countries. Remember, Gulf countries are 89% of the immigrants from Kerala, actually 89.2 in fact. So they are belong to the Gulf countries. So here I'm talking a lot about their situation where they are staying at the moment. So the expenditure, their household expenditure has been increased. The household, expenditure has been increased because most of the time they have to stay at home. So when they are at home, they have to do a lot of cooking and they have to, they eat well. Some people are saying that they are not able to do physical activities well. So then they could not travel to home because of the family reasons. That can be considered a saving in terms of economically, if you think, because that money will be spent otherwise. So, but still, they're saving. Currently they are using their savings for their consumption expenditure. And a few of the shops have to be closed because of there is no business. Especially people do small businesses like shops and restaurants, and this kind of things have to be closed. So now they are in a situation like they don't have income, they don't have a job, they don't have money to send back home. Even some people whom I interviewed, they don't have enough money to look after their expenditure there. Then they are not. Then some people are also asked money from home. So I think moving to the next slide because time is up now. So the other way, what's happening here it is, so I can tell what's happening to these families or these NRIs families, the households back home in Kerala, what's happening to these people. So this is what I got. This is a general picture actually. So they're saying that bank repayment is not happening because as I mentioned earlier, some of them took bank loan to go to for their visa purposes and also the construction of the houses because they were anticipating that they'll be earning this amount of money. Therefore, they took a bank loan, huge bank loan, so which is they are not able to pay back. So a couple of people also mentioned their child's education is affected. So for example, one gentleman here, he talks about his daughter's study in aviation college is hugely affected. So they stopped her education. This is her last years of her study. He spent a lot of money for her daughter's education, which is affected. Then as I mentioned earlier also, daily living expenses have been slashed. They are not able to pay themselves. I'm talking about the family at home. So they actually live by the government provided the food kit provided by the state government. So they usually food they are not eating now. So their daily living expenses they have to reduce. And the family debt payment is not happening. So some people were started repairing their houses before the COVID-19. So they have to stop the repairing houses, not because of the construction is not allowed here. It is because of the money is not coming from there, from the NRI. So the other person is also mentioned marriage is postponed. Here again, I emphasize that it's not because of the government made restrictions so marriage should not happen, but it is also because of they are not able to pay back the dowry which they agreed earlier. So in that way, the marriage is also postponed. So a lot of issues like this these are happening now. So I'm going to stop with this slide. Just one minute. So so this is actually I like to open for discussion. So we need to think about what is the future of these people. So these people who are able to who are not able to look after themselves where they are staying now, who are not able to support their families back home. So then some of the people are actually willing to come back, but at the same time they are worried about what they will do when they come back. So there is a question of how many will be coming back. So there are some observations made by Rajan Irula. So he did a lot of study in migration population. So he says that there is about 3 lakhs people are going to come back from these countries by September. So my question to this audience, and also maybe we can answer this question together. So is Kerala prepared to meet their immediate needs and also about the future needs? Because people are anticipating later a lot of construction, a lot of consumption actually happening here based on the future income. So that's not coming. So the other issue is, will they be able to use their savings? So there's some people are actually resting with some savings because anticipating that their situation may not be improved, they can use their savings in their countries. So will they be able to use their savings for productive purposes? Will they use their experience and skills when they come back to Kerala? That we are not sure. And one point I also made, this is a discussion point, it maybe also have an impact on environment. It is actually a positive point because most of the NRI money actually used for construction purposes. So the construction actually reduced now. Will that make any impact upon environment? And also the lot of NRI money actually used for car consumption also. So will that make any impact on CO2 emissions? So in that way, I think it may also have some positive impact as well. So these are the points I like to discuss maybe with the colleagues who are joining part of this session. So basically what I'm trying to say here, the NRI people are actually struggling a lot. Mainly they are struggling in Gulf countries. Some people who stay in the West, somewhat okay at the moment, but they are also worried about their future. So what we as a state in Kerala are actually going to support these people will be a good question to answer. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for your paper, which highlighted real life stories of NRIs. And also, you looked at the perspectives from the NRI's point of view, and also what their relatives and family in Kerala or India think about what is going to happen in the future. And he has also raised some questions which we can discuss when we come to the discussion session. So thank you, Dr. Johnson. Now we have Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan. She is a former professor of economics and dean of social sciences at St. Joseph's College, Bangalore, and also the chief executive. Presently, she is the chief executive officer of BM English School. Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan is popular for her innovative methods of teaching economics. So today, she will be sharing her views on this topic. So I request Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan to go ahead with her presentation.
Subhashini ma'am, just a minute ma'am. Johnson sir, would you please change the host designation to me, means Bushantis? Johnson sir, am I audible?
Yeah, I can. So what I do is says more.
Yeah.
So
On that you can see Bushantis, no? A person Bushantis.
I can only see rename and add profile picture.
Bushantis would be there.
Which I can't see. Should I move first?
Yeah, Bushantis, and when you deep press, you can see, you can make him host, sir.
Actually, I can see only two button now. So mute and more.
Oh, in the participants list, you can find Bushantis, no? On that, in the more list, you can find two more options.
More list. Okay.
More list,
Yeah,
you can.
more list. Make a host.
Oh, yeah, make a host.
Okay, so whom
Bushantis, sir. Bushantis.
Okay. Yeah, I did that.
Okay, thank you, sir. Over to Subhashini, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to participate in our web seminar, an outcome of this pandemic, COVID-19. Thank you, Little Flag College, Guruvayoor, for inviting me as a resource person. It's indeed an intellectual exercise to convert this entire pandemic into something that economists can think about or social scientists can think about. This virus, with its super spreading nature, has made the whole world stand up on its feet. Which war could not do, which politics could not do, this one little virus could do. 4.7 million yesterday. Million people across the world are affected, and India has crossed 1 lakh figure yesterday. The outcomes are totally unpredictable and devastating on the other. It may have some positive influences also, like my earlier speaker said, on the environment. It could also have positive influences on policy making, because the pandemic has opened out several fault lines in our study of migrants in the country and elsewhere. We took the migrants for granted, and that's the end of the story now. We can no longer think that migrants are over. This pandemic has got deep economic, political, psychological, technological, medical, and critical ramifications for the country and the world. What touched me was when I think about the gender part of it, I find that women suffer as usual, even in an event more. But then we have to forego the many vaccinations that mothers have to take or babies have to take. We also find that there can be social implications, which is on their health, on their families, and so on. So, my talk essentially will look at the broader aspects of the migrants, how these migrants are affected by that, and what can be done in future when migration is a real part of our economy. A pandemic like this has done something very much what we know in microeconomics. For example, it talks about resource reallocation. So resources meant for normal needs have been diverted to the taming of the pandemic. And what has been affected the worst? The worst affected outcome of resource allocation is that of employment. The lockdown has created the most devastating effect on employment, unprecedented human suffering of all kinds, and one of the important outcome is that of migration. A quick look into the timeline. On January 30th, the first case, 24th March, the first lockdown for 21 days. Movement was suddenly stopped for the entire 1.3 billion people in just 4 hours. All factories and workplaces shut, migrants unemployed ousted from their homes, safety, food issues were to follow. The issues that have been thrown out to the migrants in particular relates to food, water, sanitation, housing, then the hunger, destitution. Let me share the screen. Host has disabled, yeah. Yeah. Can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
I think the host has disabled me. Host has disabled my participation screen sharing. Okay. Anyway, I will read it from here. So, utter fear, confusion, uncertainty for this category of workers. Workers are treated with lack of dignity and in terms of basic dignity. Now, what has happened?
Sorry, ma'am, you can do the screen sharing now itself.
All right. Yes. So millions of migrant workers were uncertain about the future, and since this lockdown was made, and the migrant population did not come into the thinking at all. That was the thing that happened, and that is the reason why we have got such an unplanned situation for the migrants. We did not foresee the massive problem that the crisis was in the making. So this has resulted in suddenly we realized that these migrants have to be put into camps. You can see that, I hope. Yeah. Yeah. So we find that they had to be set into the we also find that them resorting to inhuman ways to reach their home destination as transport was closed. And they were also stigmatized because they are considered as carriers of disease. Some states more affected than others. Now, when I look at migration, how do I understand migration? Migration is a part of human capital formation, and Schulz believes that migration allows skill formation and human capital formation when people move from one place to the other. So it has affected the socio-economic development over history. It has helped in urbanization. It has helped in many activities of skill of very diverse nature that can be built. It also carries people from, it carries the labor with the human capital from the less from the more supplied region to the less supplied region. And therefore, there is some kind of an equalization of labor force that happens between regions which are differing in the requirement of human labor. It also allows us in the acquisition of new skills because all these laborers, when they are in new places, they tend to learn some skill or the other to survive in a situation like that. If we look at the outcome of this migration, these workers have affected the poverty alleviation programs of the country in much more than what the program itself could do. No program has reduced poverty or unemployment as much as this migration has done. Just the earlier speaker was telling how people have even students who have been studying, they have been capable of raising some income to support their families. A very little conceptual part. Migration has many facets in India. I'm driving to the point to the need for policy formulation. When I look at the labor market, I find that the labor market has got both organized and unorganized sector. Of course, the migrants are born in some place and they work somewhere else. The thing is that we don't have documentation of movement of laborers across the country. Even across the world, a part of the migration that happens goes undocumented. And that exactly is the cause of the trouble that we are seeing now. They are engaged in formal and informal sector work. Some of them are permanent, some of them are self-employed, they are casual, they are contract laborers, and many of them are circular migrants. They move from the village to the cities, carry on with some work, and go back when the work is over. Many of them are skilled, many of them are semi-skilled or unskilled. Both demand pull and push forces force this migration. The opportunity for work in urban centers and the lack of local options push people to choose to go out of their hometown. Migrants from the rural area, not very skilled in urban requirement, they manage to work in traditional services like trade, hotels, transportation. At the same time, there are educated, skilled migrants who from the town or village areas, they move into areas like health, education, services like financial intermediation or information technology. If we look at the reasons why this migration has happened, I have taken the 2011 census. We find that there is a difference in the pattern of male and female migration. Male migration, 49%, 49.7% go for work and business, whereas the same number is just 5.1 for females. 49% male go for work and business, 5.1 female go for work and business. For education, male members 4.1, female 2.0. Marriage and family related, male members 36.4, whereas for female, migration by family is 86.5. So most women migrate because they get married to somebody living in a migrated place. and other reasons could be 9.9 for the male and 6.4. Interstate migration also 66% is for work related, 1.6 for education, 21% for family, and 10 for other reasons. Now, when we, some states have more migrants than others. Example, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar have a disproportionately higher number of out migrants. Kerala has a peculiar situation. Kerala has large migrants out to more of the Gulf countries than to the other parts of the country. And that is what my previous speaker was talking about. Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh accounted for 50% of total interstate migrants. Now, in Kerala, why has this migrant population, interstate migrant population, arrived? This is something worth discussing. Why do we have so many migrant population from other parts of the country moving into Kerala, and why do Keralites move out of the state to the Gulf countries? Now, this is something which is unique to Kerala, and if you know the composition of the population that comes to Kerala, we are aware that they are not even aware of the language, the culture, the food habits, the climatic condition, yet they come to Kerala and they are willing to settle down and do their work in Kerala. That is something that is worth researching for. Why do so many migrant population from other parts of the country desire to come to Kerala? There is probably, that's worth researching, probably the medical conditions or education or political condition, whatever, but that is worth discovering why this kind of a research is happening. Now, one important thing about migrants is they have certain rights. United Nations Human Rights Conventions have got one convention only on human rights for labor. And labor cannot be forced to work. There has to be freedom from forced labor. They have to be protected against arbitrary expulsion from state of employment. They can return home if the migrant wishes. They have a standard. Yeah. Yeah. So to a standard of, they have the right to return home if the migrant wishes, to a standard of living adequate for health and well-being. And the question is whether these rights are being recognized now. Have we opened up a box of problems for ourselves? Have we opened out the fault lines that are there when we are relating to migration, migrant labor? Now, what is the consequence of this? We are going to find the rural economies will be hit. There will be an oversupply of unskilled labor, or there will be de-skilling, as most of the skills that are learned on the job in the towns and cities may not be of much use in the villages. And also, this de-skilling will take place because they will not be able to update their skill which they were doing while they were at work. And thus skill formation which was happening in the informal sector will be very deeply affected. The other thing is there are government policies are related hardly anything to the very small organized sector, and informal sector is very huge. There are no policies of labor that really attaches to the labor sector. And these small migrant population has learned a variety of skills, maybe from abroad they have learned and they have come to the state. They are local people, they have come back to their hometown. Now, if we find the Kerala economy, what are the specific skills that the state requires? And what will these migrants going away from this state cause as a short supply? Now, there is going to be a short supply of certain kinds of labor in Kerala because Kerala has been a dependent population for interstate migrants on one hand, and the migration of the migrants returning from the Gulf countries and other parts of the world due to either due to the loss of jobs or due to the COVID or due to the visa problems. When they come back, what kind of jobs are they likely to take up? So this is what is making the whole problem of migration so complicated. And it appears that there is a whole lot of issues that are being thrown out now for researchers. So research students have plenty of topics to work on this particular area. Now, until we update our knowledge about this migration that is happening currently, until we have data which is complete, we have to depend on 2011 NSSO data. Until we update our data to a later date, we cannot have a better understanding about migration. And until we have the data, we will never know how to provide food supplies, housing, sanitation, financial services, education, or health need to the worker. And the question is, can we ignore migrants in our study of making policies in the country? We have made several kinds of policies. Will we be ignoring the migrants and making policy? Then a crisis like this has put the nation to its knees, and we now know how to handle this particular issue. It has brought in a huge humanitarian crisis. Humanitarian crisis we have seen in terms of the debts that they have to return, the kind of harassment that they have to be meted out, and the kind of struggle that they have to return to their home countries. All animals and birds, we know about migration. So human beings also migrate, but they want to go back to the hometown. They have a lot of comfort in their hometown. So this particular COVID has created that kind of a problem. And the next time when we are talking about migration, the question will be, distance will matter. Will they migrate this far? For example, Kerala will have people coming from the northeastern part of the country who are working in Kerala. Next time when they have to take a decision to come to Kerala, would they be interested in coming this far a distance to work to work and earn an income? Until policies are in place for taking care of them, we will find that that can pose a real labor problem in the state. And also the migrants who are coming back, whether they would like to stay in Kerala after having tasted the life that is outside. Now, these are two kinds of problem Kerala is facing. The migrants coming back, whether they would like to take up the job that they were doing earlier there in their villages, whatever job they were doing, are they willing to take up those kind of jobs? Or would they move out into other states to occupy themselves with the new skills that they have learned? One is for Kerala, and the other one is for the other migrants who are coming from other states. How are they going to handle themselves in coming back to Kerala? So the social political fact matters are very important, and that could influence their decision. If villages and towns cannot absorb them, migration is inevitable for economic reasons in the medium term. So it is not going to happen that um, we, whether these kind of skills can be whether these yeah. So it is not going to happen so simple that they will just come here and we would be around with them. Until policy issues have been created to find out the varieties of migrants we are having, documenting them in terms of their skill, their education qualifications, then creating resources for their stay, for their education. We are facing a big humanitarian crisis, and Kerala will have a double crisis. One is the migrants from outside who have to be given jobs in Kerala, or they will migrate to other states in the country, and the migrants who come into the city, into Kerala, and look for jobs in Kerala. So this is the issue that I have. We make the migrants vulnerable. We are ignoring the needs of the migrants, and COVID-19 has brought in face a big issue in front of policymakers, the most neglected issue of migrant population. Remittances are fine. They take care of marriages, they take care of education, they take care of, and Kerala, the other thing that we also understand is a good amount of the migration remittances are also gone into buildings. So if at all they need to get that money back, how do they do that? So I leave it at this point that there is a need for a strong policy making for migrant population. Thank you.
Thank you, Subhashni ma'am. Subhashni ma'am was basically trying to tell us why people migrate and what is the difference between male migration and different female migration, and also how, especially in the case of Kerala, what the migrants are going to, what will be the attitude of migrants towards migrating to Kerala after this COVID incident. Now we move on to the next presentation, that is by Dr. Rajesh K, who is Assistant Professor at Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies. He was formerly with the Department of Economics of St. Aloysius College, Thrissur, and also he was a scientist at the Rubber Board of India. So over to you, Rajesh, for your presentation.
Subhashini ma'am, please. Subhashini ma'am, would you please change the host designation to Dr. Rajesh? Ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
There are some people waiting room. Do you want to allow the waiting room?
No, ma'am.
Isn't it?
There is a more option. You can click on that.
Isn't it in the participant?
Yeah, ma'am. It is in the participant. Dr. Rajesh K is there.
Yeah.
More option. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Rajesh sir is the host now. Rajesh sir, over to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon to all. Before starting my presentation, let me express my sincere thanks to the organizers, especially the Department of Economics of Little Flower College, Guruvayoor, for giving me a chance. So it is always, for me, it is a great privilege and happy to share my view in this regard. So I'll be sharing my slide with you. So impact of COVID-19 on return, migration, and foreign remittance. I'm seeing this subject from a macroeconomic perspective. So earlier speakers they spoke about from different angles. So my background is economics. So I'll be looking at a macroeconomic perspective. So impact of COVID-19 is visible. Economic impact is there, social impact is there, political impact is there, even environmental impact is there, no doubt. And the measuring the impact, especially economic impact of COVID, especially at this moment, is not easy. Why I said it is not easy means so far we have not yet discovered a vaccine to prevent this COVID-19. So 2 days back, Fed chair Jerome Powell, who said a full economic recovery may not happen without a vaccine. So that create panic in the financial market. So it is very difficult. Even economics are not able to attend that particular when we are able to move toward that direction or when the recovery will be happening. But definitely recovery will be there. I'm telling the period. We do not know at this particular moment. We do not know we are going to face a weaker or weaker or whatever it is. And here we'll be discussing two different terms like return migration and foreign remittance. Here again, when we understand this particular topic, there are certain conceptual issues. One is the actual number of Indian workers in other countries is hard to estimate. And we are using Ministry of External Ministries data, and they count the NRIs and PAOs, and especially those people who are requiring immigration check. And this data is not open. So there may be variations from source to source. And again, and the data on high-skilled Indian migration is not captured very well. So there are certain issues with respect to the data. Then, if you look at the contribution side, like since 1991, the contribution from remittance, migrant remittance to this particular country is it's increasing. Now it is 78 or 80 billion dollar. And at the same time, if you look at the number of immigrants, this data I have taken from RBI study, 2 years back study. And as per this particular data, it is 16.6 million population or Indians are working in abroad. So if you look at that particular data, you can see that the Mexico, then even Russia, China, and with 10 million people, that is 1 crore people, China was able to reap $67 billion. So here in India, it is more than 16 or it is near to 17 million. So there may be changes in the productivity because Chinese and especially and Japanese workers are known for their productivity. I'm not going to that aspect, but there are certain other points that we have to look into. So here in the right hand side, you can see that we are low skilled Indian workers. So India, especially the South Asia, is known for the low skilled workers, and many low skilled workers are migrating to especially the Gulf countries, and that is one part. And corona, as I already said, COVID affected each and every sectors in the world. Definitely, I mean, its impact will be differ from economy to economy and country to country. Definitely there will be no doubt that whether it will be affecting the employment or other things, definitely it will affect. So then uh, I'll move on to one more slide. That is, if you look at this particular slide, you can see that the remittance in the one side and the number of overseas Indians in the other side. From this table, you can know that we are most of the people, 4.46 million people are moving to USA, and 3 million people are moving to UAE. But you look at the remittance side, you can see that UAE that is contributing more than USA. And again, one more point here we have to think that the people who are working in the Gulf GCC.
Excuse me, Rajesh sir, your screen is not visible, sir.
What should I do?
You should do the screen sharing. Now you're the host, you can do the screen sharing.
Yeah, I have given the sharing option.
Open the.
You can put the slideshow, sir.
Yeah, it is in the slideshow mode.
Okay, fine.
Is
Just
it
a
okay?
minute.
No.
Not visible.
So the PowerPoint has to be opened.
Yeah, it is opened, and I have given the slide share options.
Okay, but it's not visible.
No, not visible.
Yeah, here it is given. Your screen is sharing.
Can you click the COVID-19
The PowerPoint.
then open?
Pardon?
Your PowerPoint is at the bottom, so please click on COVID-19.
Here everything is fine, and it is given that your screen is your screen is sharing. It is written there.
Sir, here what is visible is your window only, sir. Some folders are visible in this window, but not the PPT, sir.
Okay. What should I do then?
So close it once again.
Okay.
Close it once again. Open your PPT and then share.
Yeah.
Close it up, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Open your window. Open PowerPoint for that slide.
Yeah. Share screen.
Now you can open your screen, your PowerPoint.
But my file is not there.
So you would have opened it COVID-19 PPT at the bottom of your list of files. Just open that, sir.
I think that file got minimized. At the bottom of the screen, sometimes you may find the file.
Is it okay?
Now share. now share.
I can see only Subhashni madam. I'm not able to see any others.
So on the slide sharing, just click slide sharing, then it will take you to something. There you open your PowerPoint. That's all that you have.
Yeah. Now it is okay, I think.
That's right.
Okay, sir, you have started your slide sharing.
Okay.
Can you put it in slideshow mode, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is it okay? Is it okay now?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay. So, here in 4.46 million people are moving to USA, and the contribution from USA is less. So here, one more point that we have to think, that in USA or in Europe or in Australia, there is a chance of getting a PR. But in Gulf countries, you will not be getting whether you are a Muslim or a Hindu, you won't be getting a PR status. So people who are working in GCC, they have to send their money back to India. And if you look at the remittance part, that is the state-wise in India, 4 states, Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, these 4 states receive almost 60% of the total remittances. So that is also another important factor. So when there is an impact, naturally these 4 states will be getting affected. Then as a country whole, if you look at the country, then we know that our economic performance is very bad, especially since 2016. So there are problems in the economy, and COVID-19 aggravated that particular issues. Then when we are talking about the remittance or the return migration or the foreign remittance part, definitely it will be affecting the GDP contribution towards GDP, and it's directly it will be affecting the construction and automobile sector in the country. There is no doubt at all. And remittances always account a major part in the current account deficit. And that is why the stability of rupee actually depends. There are certain relations, and there are certain. Can you hear me? Some sound is disturbance is coming. Hello?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Some disturbance is coming.
No problem, sir. It's okay.
Okay. Stability of the rupee as well as the exchange rate is also depends upon the foreign remittance. So earlier speakers, they were talking about the migration and the role of migration in reducing the unemployment rate in India. So what happened is that return migration naturally increases the unemployment rate in India. And again, Subhashni ma'am also talked about the low skilled labor. So what happened is that, as I already mentioned in the earlier slides, that we are exporting actually low skilled labor to the GCC. So the conversion is happening. The low skilled labor, they have to work in some places, and they'll be working there for 6 months or 1 year, and they'll be getting skilled. So in return, I'm not telling all are becoming skilled, but they are becoming a skilled labor. So how we accommodate this skilled labor is the matter to be discussed, and that is not easy, especially for the time being. So now I will move on to the Kerala part. So as our respected chair already mentioned the importance of remittance on Kerala economy. So remittance is acting as the backbone of Kerala economy. And Kerala, we used to talk about the Kerala model of development. Personally, I don't use that model. Actually, it's a unique way of development. I do agree, but I don't want to call it as a model. And from 1970s, this particular model or the unique system of development has been in news. And now, due to the corona, I mean, we are able to control the corona. That is why our model has been um, uh, we are talking too much about our this model. And I wish to bring another important document by government of Kerala. According to them, around 50 lakh people in the state, they are depending or related with the, I mean, 50 lakh in the sense our population is around 3.4 crore and depends upon the immigration. And nowadays, if you look at the pattern of the Gulf countries and the pattern of migration, then we know that since almost 2008, the trend has been reduced because the Gulf countries, they were imposing what we call the nationalization policies in the Gulf. Even the price of oil is coming down. There are certain domestic issues in that Gulf regions. So Malayalis in that way, number has been slightly reduced. And this is the statewide, district-wise statistics of Kerala people. And as per, according to this particular statistics, around 40 lakhs people are working, I mean, Malayalis are working abroad. So as I already said, there are certain variations and changes with respect to the source of data. Then, um, uh, from the above table, it is clear that the Malappuram district has the highest number of people living of remittances. And there is an interesting point is that around 60,000 women from Kerala today work as nurse. So whatever happens, I'm not sure that these 60,000 people, I mean, women, they are not going to lose their jobs as they are working in the health sector. Even recently, I read something from Saudi Arabia that they asked the nurses to come back to their country. I mean, earlier they were working as a nurses in their country. They gave some offer, something like that. And the total so total immigrants in the state now, as I already mentioned, that is the number is coming down. So it came down. And the another study conducted by Irudaya Rajan sir of CDS, and they say immigration from Kerala declines, but income improves. So for the total population, total remittance, now it is in the 2018, so that 85,092 crores, and the per capita remittance is almost 24,000. So the remittance played a major role in the Kerala economy. There is no doubt at all. And now the present trend is something different. And majority of the immigrants are in the age group of 15 to 29. And people of especially the young workers of Kerala, they are preferring more to Australia or Canada and than Gulf countries. Then if you look at the impact, overall impact of COVID on Kerala economy, then as I already mentioned that economic crisis and nationalization is there at the GCC that is affecting Kerala, but still in terms of employment that is affecting, still our remittance part so far we are safe. And in Kerala also, earlier we were exporting a huge number of unskilled laborers, but now that trend is not there. Even UP and Bihar, they are exporting unskilled laborers. Still, that process is there. The people who are coming from Gulf are skilled laborers. And there are certain psychological factors. That is, now people are thinking that earlier they were not happy with the life in Kerala, and many people they want to migrate to some other countries. Even many people migrated to Canada or Australia. Now people are thinking in the reverse manner. And our COVID management, even the treatment or the way we handle the COVID was better. So there are people who are thinking to shift their life from other countries to Kerala. And even there are other people that are having the problem where if they come back to Kerala, whether they can help or they can support their family. There are certain issues. So in future times, what I'm trying to say is that psychological issue, problems will be there among the people. So that is a major area. Then the one criticism against the GCC or the remittance part is that the investment is happening in the unproductive sector, especially in the real estate as well as the housing sector. So actually, the investment in housing means it is not positively creating the economy. We are getting taxes, no doubt at all, and some people, construction workers, they are getting employment. But if you look at the construction part, we know that other that the effect or the employment is getting for other state people, and because the Malayali Keralites are not working in the construction sector of Kerala, they are very less. So definitely there is not the Kerala economy will shrink because the Gulf remittance was pumping our economy, especially in the construction as well as the consumable durable products. So in the future, Kerala economy will be shrink, but definitely it will be after a particular period there will be an up, and the future depends upon, as I already mentioned in the case of India, that how we accommodate this skilled labor. So that is all about my presentation. So I think if we are able to, now the government is doing some projects through what we call the startup mission and all. It will take some time. Immediately there will be a problem in Kerala. In the short run, it badly affects our state, no doubt. But in the future, I think we can overcome that crisis. That's all for from my part. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh, for your presentation. So I'd like to tell the participants that they can type in their questions, if any, in the chat box of Zoom as well as in the chat box of YouTube. We'll try to answer all possible questions. So before we get into the discussion part, I hope many of the participants, especially those who are from outside Kerala, may not be knowing that this Little Flower College Guruvayoor is in the district of Thrissur, from where the very first case of COVID case was reported from India. It started from here in Thrissur, the first case, and that is how we started the fight against COVID. So now there are many questions that you may be interested in discussing, like especially when you discuss about the NRIs, or what they are going to do when they come back, how they will find their avenues of employment and also avenues of income, and also what will be the nature of employment that they are going to find in Kerala, because it's a paradoxical situation in Kerala, as some of our speakers have already mentioned, that Keralites go out of Kerala in search of employment. They migrate outside Kerala in search of employment, but people from all over India migrate to Kerala in search of employment. So people are moving out in search of employment, but people are coming in search of employment. So there is some sort of mismatch, or maybe it's perceptional mismatches of employment situation. So we can look into such factors. Then also there are issues like Kerala economy. As you can, if you look at the development pattern of Kerala economy, you can see that the first two sectors, that is the primary sector and secondary sector, these two sectors are not so strong in the case of Kerala. It's a tertiary sector or the service sector that is very strong. So as Dr. Johnson was mentioning in the beginning, this is happening basically because of the spending from the part of NRIs, especially for service sector. So what is going to happen now to the service sector of Kerala, which was largely being supported by NRI remittances, and also in the beginning, I was just telling what is going to happen to our marginal propensity to consume. Are we going to spend as we were spending before the COVID incident? And another is whenever we have looked into the NRI stories, we have seen that NRIs have even returned to Kerala even before, to India even before. So when they return, what we have seen is people always tend to copy success stories rather than trying to innovate. As you know, Schumpeter has always said that to move forward, you should continuously innovate. You innovate a business model, then others copy it, then you should continue to innovate. So are we going to have more innovations? Again, another question is, are we going to change? Because it has now become very clear that we cannot continue in the same mode that we have so far been moving. So are we going to change? If you look at the Kerala society after the two floods, what we have seen is we changed a bit, but then we again came back to what we were. So these are all important questions. So now let me see the questions from the participants. Here is one question to Subhashini ma'am. The question is, I will read out the question. I would like to ask you that Gulf migrants are coming back to Kerala, and migrants, those who were working in Kerala, are returning to their native places. Our construction industry is totally depends on the migrants. So due to shortage of labor supply, due to the migrants returning, what will be the impact on Kerala economy because of the reverse migration? And is there any measure or any measure for the to overcome this? This is the question. It has been basically addressed to Subhashini ma'am, but others can also respond after Subhashini ma'am. Over to you, Subhashini ma'am.
Excuse me, Subhashini ma'am. Dr. Rajesh, would you please change the host position to me, Bush Antis? Sir, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the participants list, you can see Bush Antis. Against his name, you can see the more options and then make him the co-host.
Just a
Okay. In the participants list, go to
Yes,
the participants. Okay, you find
just-
Bush Antis. Bush Antis. Against his name, 3 dots are there, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the more options, you can see make host.
Is it okay?
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Problem solved.
Thank you, Dhanya. Dhanya was the person, I think she has asked that question, if I'm right.
Yes.
Dhanya, thank you. You have raised a very important question for concern for Kerala. Now, on 29th March, as I was reading, I found that a total of 5.6 lakh Malayalis are expected to come back to Kerala. UAE 1,22,000, Saudi 35,000, Qatar 30,000, Kuwait 17,000, Bahrain 14,000. Where are we going to accommodate all of them? Yes, we can accommodate because we have built big houses in Kerala. That has been one of the most fascinating story of Kerala, that the remittances has gone into, I was reading about remittances. Remittances have gone into making big houses, then into gold. These have two major investments that have taken place. Banking has not been a major area of investment for the state. So are we planning to see that the are we anticipating that the construction activities will come down because the migrant laborers are not there to construct? That is one. On the other hand, I have another question to ask. Are we going to have less of construction happening in the country because remittances are going to drop? which is the one which will happen first? We don't know. And these remittances are going to drop not only because of COVID. There is an adjoining problem of COVID, which is the oil price crash. So that has affected these Gulf countries in such a way that they are now looking for winding up many employment that they are giving to outsiders, because they would also like to streamline their own economy. So there's a double whammy kind of a problem for India, for Kerala. Whether construction work will reduce is one. Whether, if construction works have to continue, whether we'll have the laborers to construct. It's a $100 million question. I don't know what answers can come out of it until we examine that much more deeply and much more for the research mind. I don't know whether we get an answer to that. But I see um, as a state with a very small geographical area, as Chaco sir just now said, we don't have much to do with manufacturing sector. Agricultural land is very negligibly available for agriculture, major agriculture activities. Then what is it that activity we can do if this migrant population are going to return? And all these migrant population are skilled migrants, because they go there, they have learned some skill and come. Otherwise, they cannot survive there. So the service sector is the one that they're going to work. What kind of service sector can Kerala focus on? I have always thought that Kerala, with its health infrastructure, is a state which can take care of health as a specialization. It can be a health destination. So tourist destination can become a major health destination. And it has proven with this COVID-19 that Kerala has great potential to manage good health systems and infrastructure. And it has already built good infrastructure now with the COVID-19. The third area I find that they can really work on is to invest in education, set up world-class institutions or national level institutions, because from many reasons, socially and otherwise, Kerala seems to be a safer place for many people to come and study. I would see that these are three areas other than construction that the skilled population can be employed. The hotels and the restaurants and all of them will go back to the into the tourism sector. The educated people can get into the health sector. The doctors and others could get into that. But as you said, doctors and nurses will not be sent back because the world needs them. But in case they are coming back because of documentation problem, there is a health sector which is ready. And third one will be the education sector. So it's $1 million question: what will happen to construction sector in Kerala without migrants and without remittances? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Subhashini ma'am. Now, there is one question to Dr. Rajesh. It is, as the migrants come back, there is a brain gain. We were facing brain drain, but now we have brain gain. So, how do you think this brain gain is going to be handled, or how it is going to benefit the state of Kerala? That's a question to Dr. Rajesh.
Hello, is it audible?
Yes.
Okay. Earlier, we were facing a problem called a brain drain. That is true. And now people are coming back to Kerala. So now we have to think beyond the lines. That is, now the world is looking for smart jobs and people who are very, very smart. So Kerala, as you already mentioned, that we are well in service sector, and we have to innovate new products. Say, for example, I'll give you one example. And if you want to climb if you want to pluck a coconut from a coconut tree, even now also we don't have the technology. So how we are able to link technology with each and every aspect is very, very important. So earlier, Subhashini ma'am was talking about the agriculture. We do not know, even India, we are poorly implemented technology with the agriculture. Even Nepal is far better than, even Sri Lanka is far better than India. And regarding the agriculture, we have to generate value added products. In his first budget, Thomas Isaac, our minister, allocated 5 crores of rupees for jackfruit processing. Even now, also, we are not able to process jackfruit in a economical manner. Even not even a single firm is there in Kerala, and it is calculated around 3,000 or 4,000 crore worth of jackfruit is producing in Kerala. So we are not able to utilize our own resources. Then I'll give you one more example. Water is plenty in Kerala, and here we have 44 rivers, and there is a study by CWDRD Calicut. We are spoiling around 70% of the water available in Kerala. So avenues will be there. Immediate avenues will not be there. We have to find out the way. See, I'll give you another example like a Byju's app. 10 years back, he was an ordinary teacher. And in 2012, when he was forming an app, nobody thought that it will become became an industry like this. So there are so many examples. We can point out so many examples. So if you have an idea, you can change the world. That is what I believe. And again, I have to add one more point. Earlier, Subhash Ma'am was talking about the construction sector. See, theoretically, we can say that 5 people are leaving from Kerala to Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, and 5 people are coming from Gulf to Kerala. So we can accommodate we can accommodate these people in our construction sector. But practically, that will not happen. And personally speaking, I am not a fan of construction sector. And again, here I think one more point is worth. In Kerala, there are 10 lakh houses which doesn't have people, and there are 3.5 lakh families, they don't have houses. That is the situation in Kerala. So ironical situations are there. So again, investing in construction sector is not at all good for Kerala. And in case brain, we have to utilize them. I mean, according to our capacity, it is our duty, and we have to find out jobs. Even our government is supporting so many missions like startup missions, and we can government is supporting to that side. Even central minister is supporting. Even minister government is also supporting. So maybe in the short run it is not easy, but in the long run we can find out better strategies, or each one can find out better strategies. There is a scope for your product.
Hello, Rajesh.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, there is one question which Dr. Johnson can probably answer. That you gave us some stories of NRIs, real life stories. You spoke to many NRIs. So the NRIs are basically they are facing a problem that there is salary cut and also loss of employment. So Dr. Vidhu would like to know what do you think about the perceptions of NRIs about the situation that is going to arise because of these two issues. One is salary cut and other is job loss. So how it is it's certainly going to affect the their demand pattern. So probably Dr. Johnson can reflect on this question and also about the earlier questions if you would like to tell something.
I will answer the question first, the personal question he asked me. So the people I spoke to, different country contexts are actually giving different answers to the question you asked. For example, people who work in Western context, they are not willing to come back. Most of the people I talk to, because they think their situation eventually improve. They already seen there is an improvement. There is slightly sad situation in the US alone, but the other Western countries like France, Germany, and UK, Canada, and Australia, the people who are staying there, they think that the situation will improve. Then they will be able to manage. And also they are not income-wise, they are not affected. and their salary is not cut. The government is providing salary to them. So in that sense, they are not thinking that they should come back. On the other hand, when they look at India, they see that India is going to have more problems soon. One is a number of cases will be increased, especially when monsoon time, there is a possibility of more cases going to come in India. Then the migrant population within the country will be affected. And also, like Dr. Rajesh said, since 2016, we have been facing an economic crisis in India. So therefore, they see this, so they think they don't want to come back to India because of this. So I'm talking about the people who live in the West. On the other hand, people who live in Gulf countries, they like to come back because they, again, not only the COVID reasons, there is also economic reasons. Economic reasons, which is mentioned by Dr. Subhashi also, that the oil prices are going down, the nationalization is happening, and the cost of the prices, cost of the commodities have been increased, but accordingly, their wages are not increased. Therefore, those people, like the Rajan, the researcher who did a lot of studies in this area, he said there are about 3 lakhs people going to come back. So that is so for them. So what is there for them is a question we need to answer. We need to look at little more carefully and more with the data, I would say. So I don't know whether I answered your question or not completely. Did I?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So the second aspect of the question about brain gain, which is actually a very good notion of brain gain. That is a good terminology, actually. So brain gain means the people who come abroad, actually they come with experience. They come with experience which the Kerala may not have provided earlier. And also for that experience, if you think economically, Kerala has not given cost. Or, for example, in order to have that experience, the people who are going to come, Kerala did not spend any money for that in terms of education or skill training or all those kind of. Kerala did not spend any money. And also, these people also come with skills. For those skills, also, Kerala has not done any investment. So therefore, this is a very good concept. This is actually a brain gain. So your earlier question also about we need a lot of innovations. Couple of speakers actually mentioned that we need innovation. My question is, who will lead the innovation? So the government should lead the innovations, or the citizens should lead the innovations. I would suggest the universities and colleges should lead the innovations. This is what is happening in a lot of countries. The innovations are actually led by the universities. Unfortunately, our universities are not doing that kind of innovations for the state. So therefore, education become very important, like mentioned by several people. So I looked at 5 factors we need to look at, or 5 sectors we need to look at. Education, of course, already mentioned. Health, already mentioned. The other issue is you need to look at our natural resources. So a couple of things mentioned by Dr. Rajesh. Our natural resources, we have not given enough attention, I would say. So we need to give the natural resources. Natural resources, not only the land-based resources, but also ocean-based resources. Ocean-based resources are not given much attention, like renewable energy sources we have, wind energy, we are not using that, and tidal energy we have not used much. Another factor, again, backwater tourism we did a lot, but not the sea-based tourism like recreational fishing, those kind of things we have not done yet. So, like, not to destroy the natural resources, conserve and sustainably use the natural resources may be a way forward in Kerala. And also the small businesses. We need to encourage small business. Yeah. So we need to encourage a lot of small business as well. Therefore, social enterprises. The another idea will earlier couple of people in the past mentioned, but these opportunities are not dealt by our universities and colleges. Accordingly, for example, our syllabus are not updated. So in that way, we need to look at. That's what I think. So in that way, we can provide the resources for the people who come back, matching with their skills and experience.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Johnson. We will take two quick questions. One is to Dr. Rajesh. That is, this flood has, this COVID has severely affected the agriculture sector of Kerala. So, how do you think the agriculture sector of Kerala is going to recover from this? That's question to Dr. Rajesh. You can answer it in 1 minute. And the next question is to Dr. Subhashini. That is how this situation has affected women, especially rural women. So, Dr. Rajesh and Dr. Subhashini.
Shall I give you the answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Regarding agriculture, agriculture provides just 9% to the state GSDP. So it may not be a major problem when it is coming to the state income. What I'm trying to say is that it affected each and every sector, but the effect of service sector will be more than any other sector. So agriculture impact will be very, very less comparing the other two sectors. Okay.
Dr. Subhashini.
I found three interesting questions rather. One is about the mental health of people returning from after this COVID-19. Yes, there are several discussions, just like how we are discussing economic issues. There are the psychology discipline is also discussing the issues on health, mental health of people coming back, their expectations being crashed, and a lot of we can understand what kind of aspirations were there and how they would be treated at home and stigmatized, and a series of issues. That is really something that until there's a good scope to rather scope, there is a need for supporting these kind of people who are coming back from these countries and finding no job here. It is not going to be easy for Kerala to find jobs for this large number of people. One reason I find that they may not find the jobs, two reasons they may not be willing to take up jobs for the same reason they left the state when they went to these Gulf countries. So emotionally, they'll be very disturbed because they were here, they left the state here for better prospect there, and they lived in very difficult conditions, many of them, but they to come back and do a similar kind of a job, it's quite affecting their self-esteem. So we can anticipate that kind of a problem that is to come up. And the domestic employment opportunities, there is going to be a competition for the domestic employment because they are going to now compete with this returnees from outside. So domestic employment, whether they will take up those jobs that have been vacated by migrants from other parts of the country in Kerala, that is a big question to be answered. Are they willing to take up that? The third one, rural women. Rural women, I do not know whether they are competing with anybody in any professions as far as Kerala economy is concerned, because their self-help group seems to be a good way in which they are living. And as suggested earlier, the agriculture processing, whatever small agriculture is happening there, processing can happen. But the problem is about getting agriculture resources into Kerala by transporting them, because much of it is not being cultivated here. So women's problem depends on what kind of jobs they have acquired, what kind of skills they have acquired. My gut feeling says that after living in these countries for this many years and unfortunately returning for whatever reason, social factors may hold them back for some time, but they will struggle to find ways of work outside the state rather than inside. This has been when I'm living in Bangalore, and I know the number of people who come here and they are very successful doing their work. because they are educated. Now, we may say our education in Kerala is not good, but let me also tell you that when it comes to job seeking, they do find good amount of opportunities in the other states. Whether enterprise and innovativeness in Kerala, I find the biggest handicap would be investment, because whatever investments have been there, much of the investment has gone in for construction. Had a part of that investment been gone for innovation or for enterprise or small scale sectors or for being an entrepreneur, it would have made sense. But that is not what has happened. All big houses, and with these big houses, what has happened to the rent that they get from these houses? When these kind of buildings are made in cities like Bangalore, we know that rent is reasonably good to give a return of investment. What happens to these big houses in Kerala? That's a big question. So what have we invested for? Is there a return on investment in what Kerala has invested in? So the construction industry problem to me appears to be an investment without a return, and therefore if you wanted to make it into return, we'll have to convert into new forms of housing, which is this tourism should be attached to these big houses where you can have this yo-yo and all those kind of houses which were there. That could have been a source of employment to people, and women also could find jobs in those kind of employment areas. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Subhashini ma'am. So it's almost time. So we have to wind up. There are many more questions, but the purpose of the seminar, I think, has been served. The webinar has been served because it has provoked our thinking. There are questions coming. Even now, I can see in the YouTube channel we are having questions, but we don't have time to answer all the questions. So we were discussing so far the impact of COVID-19 on return migration and how it is going to affect foreign remittances, with a special reference to Kerala economy. So I would like to thank the panelists, Dr. Johnson Jamond, who is from the University of Northampton, UK, Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan, who is former Professor of Economics and Dean of Social Sciences, St. Joseph's College, Bangalore, and Dr. Rajesh K., who is Assistant Professor at Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies. And I would like to thank the organizers, Dr. Binsi and Sister Binsi and Dr. Neetu, for giving me this opportunity. I also congratulate the Department of Economics of Little Flower College, Guruvayoor, for taking up a very relevant topic for this webinar. And I also thank all the participants who have come up with the questions. I'm sorry that we couldn't take up all the questions. Initially, we had some technical problems, so we lost some time there, but we have added 15 minutes now, but still we are not able to answer all the questions, but the discussion will go on in various fora. So I thank all the participants for their active participation. So I hand over back to Dr. Needu for the concluding remarks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chaku sir. So you are the people whom we should thank on this mark regarding this session. My thanks are due to our highly distinguished resource persons for sharing their valuable time and rich knowledge with us. We are indeed grateful to all of you that you immediately accepted our invitation and joined with us today during this lockdown period. And this session was made very fruitful for all of us watching this session. Dr. Johnson Jamond for sharing his views and experience. Thank you so much, Johnson sir. Dr. Subhashini Muthukrishnan, we are extremely thankful to you for your guidance and support, ma'am. Dr. Chaku Josby, we extremely thank you, sir, for being the torch bearer by taking the lead of role of moderator in this session. Thank you so much, Chaku sir. And Dr. Rajesh K., thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sharing this his rich academic excellence and resourcefulness. And I hand over the session to Sister J. Binsi for further.
Mute, ma'am. Sister's mic. Sister's mic.
Okay. Okay. Is audible?
Yes.
Coming to the end of the session, I would like to thank our principal, Reverend Sister Dr. Valsayan, who has given us this platform and the wholehearted support for the entire program. So thank you so much, sister. I also thank the college management for providing great support and encouragement throughout the program. I appreciate and congratulate all the faculty members of the Department of Economics, Little College, Guruvayoor, especially Dr. Needu S. Arakil, for their sincere commitment, hard work, and efforts for materializing this event. A big thanks to Mr. Bush Andres, our technical administrator, who helped us throughout this session. I extend my words of gratitude all you, the participants, who have made this event a huge success. An information for you, the feedback link will be shared in YouTube link. So fill up and submit before 10 p.m. today. Now, come to the end. Let our principal, Dr. Sister Valsa, wind up the session. Sister, please. Sister?
Sister's audio is
Hello.
Yes, sister.
Okay. Good evening to all. All the sessions were very informative and useful for all the participants. I think the webinar widened the horizons of the knowledge of all the participants. This webinar was an eye-opener for all of us. What about the impacts of this COVID-19 over Kerala and the problems of migrants we learned from the resource persons? Small business should be start in Kerala, and the skill-based education or job-oriented education is one of the most important solutions for all these problems about the coming generation. So thank you very much for all the resource persons. I appreciate you and congratulate the Department of Economics, especially Reverend Sister J. Binsi, head of the department, and also Dr. Needu S. Arakil, assistant professor in economics, and also Bush Andrews, who provided the technical support for them. So thank you to the participants also, and make this webinar as a fruitful one through your activities, your life in future. So thank you very much. With the help of God, with the blessings of God Almighty, I think this webinar was a grand success. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we are leaving
I
now.
asked the participants to exit from the session, then only we can leave. I ask the participants to kindly leave the meeting.